Welcome back to another episode of American Barbell Unleashed. If you were thinking that Phil has been spending a lot of time in Italy and got a tan, you are wrong. I am Sergio Oliva. Phil is out of town, so I'm taking over, and I'm here with my boy, Kyron. Welcome back.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Good to be back.
No, I was just saying how I just got to actually watch your guys' episode. Phil, I feel I could just listen to Phil talk forever.
Yes.
But it is cool how, like, no matter what, we got into training. If you get into training because you want to feel better as a person, you want to look better, no matter what, those are kind of all the same category. You forget that there's a whole point of people who get into it for the mechanics of it, the science of it. So it's cool to when I listen to Phil and even y'all's interview, it was like there's so much passion behind it. But he spends no time using
It's all creating it to be on that other side of this industry, of this, like, I guess, this outlet. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
That is what it's interesting that he compared it to cars too, because I'm sure that's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's people who race cars for a living. You know, that's all they want. There's people who buy them for just the looks, or what the notoriety it gives them, and then there's people who make these insane machines.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder what precursors drive the direction, or like how you come into something. You know what I mean? Like, how did he grow up? Did he have like a parent who was like into engineering?
I think he was even saying that he just was messing around welding.
Yeah.
And I think he was just self-taught.
Gotcha.
And then you could see that's how he is with everything. Like everything that is like super, the watches, the cars, it's like so in tune that I don't think he knows how to do anything not that. And I think that's why I've met a lot of people too with working out, especially even past retired bodybuilders. They won't even train at all because they have this like certain level of like, they either need to be like
all the way on or not.
Yeah.
I get that. I get it's hard to just kind of like go and haphazardly do something. You need like we said someone before, having like a focus, having a goal. You kind of need your energy to be directed somewhere to do it and enjoy doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny how when we start doing this, you don't get paid. You pay.
Yeah.
If anything. And as soon as you reach your dreams of where you either have to work less or, you know, thankfully not at all, or whatever you're doing, because even doing clients isn't like a 9-to-5 job, you know? So it's crazy how then it changes. It almost seems like harder when it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
But it's probably what you were just telling me before we started filming is that exactly, if that's your only purpose, because once it turned into where it was my job, I definitely started treating it like a job. And that's not good, because that's where I started to for sure not love it anymore. Then it starts to affect not only competing, but even going to the gym. You're not enjoying going to the gym anymore because I'm not doing the best I ever have or whatever it was. That excitement also is just kind of like...
I get that. Ways to navigate that. I think if you can identify that this is like your purpose, if it's something that you're like really passionate about, I think that it'll still remain, but also just having other outlets so that you can kind of like switch if need be, if that makes sense.
No, I was even going to tell you too, we never even talked about it. I learned this from your episode. I never told you, my mom, so she competed, she was a pro.
Okay.
She was also a pro. And when she got out of bodybuilding, she actually got into yoga. And so that means, but she got into yoga when it was like these VHS tapes that you would order online. It was like 1 or 2 yogis even in the world. So I remember it was almost like a weird thing that she was doing. I remember my family being like, oh, now it's yoga. First it was bodybuilding, because she's from North Carolina. The fitness, especially in the 80s, was nothing, let alone women bodybuilding. That was like a huge no-no. And then she does that, becomes a pro. Now she's doing this thing that's kind of like stretching.
Okay. Back then when yoga was out, I wonder if it was attached to like not a religion, but like attached to a spiritual component, or was it just like a fitness type thing? Was it? Did you know?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll ask my mom that.
Because I can see it being looked at weird if it's attached to like the spiritual aspect of it. Because people, it would definitely be.
How could it not though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's its origin. You know what I'm saying? But I understand when things get to the West, they are watered down. You know what I mean? So it could just become like a fitness thing.
Right.
You got into it. You know?
Yeah, because no one's going to be, if you're selling tapes, like if it's at that point, there's no way you're selling it for on a spiritual level.
It's hard to. You're gonna alienate people, so you won't make as much profit.
Right.
You know what's possible.
But she has been telling me that I need to do something outside of bodybuilding. I was even going to tell you, it's so funny that you even said that before we started filming, that I've been trying to find this thing and whatever it is. And I even tried to get into meditating because I know that that's probably got to be one of the greatest things. Like,
absolutely.
I think that there's, like, I talk about this with my friends all the time. I want to experience all the highs that a human body can experience without drugs.
I get you. Okay.
Some with drugs too. I'm just saying that the human body is the most insane thing, that a lot of things that it can do have to be put into that situation where it does that. Yeah. Whatever it's releasing. You know, you hear about like even the moms that lift cars and stuff to get to their kids. Like the human body is insane. And so I know meditating is like I wanted to skydive. Skydiving is one of like, once your body's in a certain amount of free fall, you get high. That's why you don't get it from bungee jumping. You only get it from skydiving. So I did that, and that's the greatest experience I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
You know, like I used to be, actually before I did bodybuilding, I did track.
Okay, to track and field. Okay.
And a runner's high is also something that your body releases after you've been running for a certain amount in a certain state. And it is. It's. I mean, we get it when we work out. You can feel it when it's almost like your body's breathing better.
Open it, like for me, you feel like your eyes open up a little bit more. Like the endorphins going. Like just hearing you speak right now, I'm seeing like. Hearing you speak about just what happened with the past shows and the thing that's kind of been like in your sphere, the thing that you've been wanting to try and experience all those highs. I feel like it really is the next step for you to kind of like get to that next level that you've been looking for, is like incorporating this in a serious and an intentional way. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's all there, and it's like the universe wants you to fucking like take that next step forward.
And you don't need other people for that,
absolutely,
which is my favorite thing. If it doesn't include other groups of people, I'm in. You know,
it's a journey. Not to sound fucking cliche, but it is a journey inward where you figure out more about yourself. You know what I mean? I think that'd be good for you.
So yeah, you know, I was listening to your show with you and Phil. You guys still haven't done your session together yet of yoga, but I wanted to say I'm dead serious about doing it because I'll even pay you. I saw that you do one-on-one sessions. I'm not able to do it with someone, I think, who's not either lived my life or is kind of the size that I am too.
I get that.
Because like even when I did do it with my mom, I got into it for a little bit. I can hit all the poses, the flexibility and stabilizing stuff. The fitness part of it is no problem. Yeah. But I'm not getting, I think, the other half of getting, even just setting my morning routine. I have a morning routine because I'm a bodybuilder, but it's not on where I'm doing anything for like self-healing or preparing myself to get ready for the day.
I think once you start to look at our bodies like a system that has multiple layers on it, like and you understand like that's a real thing, and it's not just maybe like something that you've heard. Our body is a multiple layered system that has many layers to it. So once you realize that, you know that each thing needs attention. Just like you get up, you fucking do your cardio, you need to do breath work. You need to align your energy center so that you can actually show up to the world the way you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't take much. It's like maybe you incorporate like 10 minutes of just like mindful breathing, or just giving attention to each one of your energy centers. That shit can take 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Dragon's breath, where you're actually revitalizing your auric field. These two things probably take 20 minutes in the morning, but I think it's going to set you up to like actually have a more powerful day, more effective day. You know what I mean?
I mean, I need something, because what we do is it sounds so crazy, but if you lose, you're a loser, right? You know, you didn't win. Everyone, second place is less. If you're not first, you're last. And so now I think it's even more evident now in today's times rather than back in the day. Back in the day, you could do like first call out, but you still had all the magazines, you had all the sponsors. They paid you for the year, and all you had to do was X amount of magazine shoots, maybe some guest posings, and that was it. There wasn't
I really know about like how it went back then.
But there couldn't be. There was no social media. There was no filming. There was no YouTube. Like, I mean, even no matter how far back you want to go, there wasn't anything. There wasn't anything where you're just like recording yourself. For us old guys, if I wanted to watch what someone is doing at the level that I want to be at, you had to buy their DVD, and that was it. And so they got somebody to come film them for probably the week, every muscle group.
Gotcha.
Then they filmed that, they put it on DVD, and they sold that for 2 or 3 years. So that's all it was. There was no, but that's why it's easy for these guys today to be like, oh, back in my day, and then they dog everybody, but really they would do a show, and you just got to go home.
It was easier in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's 100% easier, for sure.
And then, like, they talk about the level of physique back then and now. And I do think the physiques back then did look more complete, but again, it's probably just less things you're worried about. You know what I'm saying? Because you know you have this avenue to create income. you know you're getting paid from your sponsors, and you're good. So
no matter what.
Shit. Like now, it's literally a fucking like Hunger Games. Everybody got
it is Hunger Games.
You gotta like be good on your content. You gotta be like everything. You know what I mean?
And now you're competing against people who don't compete. That's the craziest part. Is that back in the day, one, there was no classes, so there was only bodybuilding. So you either had to do that or not. I do like that they made other classes, so that way, because like if they had classic when I was getting to bodybuilding, I would have just did it just so I'm not getting my ass whooped for 10 years. Because if you're like us,
as you're climbing the rank, you have to really build a physique that's going to be competitive.
Right. So there's no way you're coming out winning.
Yeah.
And if you are, like, it's probably because you now have classes. But back then, I just had to be a middleweight. It didn't matter. Even though I was 160, I still have to go against guys who are shorter but insane.
And they've already had the time to build the physique.
Oh yeah.
You're still trying to compete against those guys. Like you're trying to build what your peak is, you know what I mean?
Right. So I like the classes, but no matter what, back in the day, right, that's kind of all there was. You didn't have to compete about it, and then you were the gods. Like that was it. Now there's people who get more attention and more money.
Never hitting stage. They just make their
just YouTube. And that's why. But now I really want to give like props to even a couple people I used to hate on, like a Sam Sulek. He's a perfect example. I used to be like, oh my god, because you hear about how much money he's making.
Yeah.
I heard that there was a time when Phil had just retired. Sam was making more money than the most winning, tied for or the most winning, or 7-time Mr. Olympia per month. It's so crazy because it's starting to turn into. It's going to become stupid to do bodybuilding. Why would you put? It's like almost like if you could get a doctorate and you work that long for that place for 10 years, and then actually you could have did it without the 10 years of building it up, and you could have just filmed yourself going to whatever it is. School even, and then people now buy into that. So that is the toughest part now, is that I feel like even if I want to do a show, and this is why we started talking about this, I do a show, I'm devastated because I didn't win. I put so much into it. I think it would help me if I had something that is not so like the end of the world, that I got even second, but also on top of it, then I come home and then now I have to be reminded of what I'm not doing. I'm not getting on social media. I'm not doing my videos. I'm not doing enough content, whatever it is. So the stabs keep stabbing, I think, after you lose. And then because we're now surrounded by a number, right? Your followers, your likes, your reach, that is the most thing you see drop after you don't do well.
I get you.
Where maybe you could tell yourself, like, I improved this body part and that body part, and I didn't win, but like, and I should feel like this. I should be like, I'm so excited how I improved, but now that number that somehow has a worth.
That's your fucking like perceived value to the world, and that's what you have to bargain with, I guess, for making your livelihood. It is a tough game.
There's people I've met that they are obsessed with their social media, and then they have problems because of that. That's your own fault, because you actually are addicted to your social media. I low-key wish social media would just disappear, even just for like, no, just imagine if like Instagram or a couple of just the social media, like TikToks and stuff like that, went down for like a month. It just kind of would like shock the world back into, what's important?
Yes.
What's your worth?
Like, what's your actual worth? What things have you actually done? What is your talent? What is your gifts? What is your outside of just being on camera? You know what I'm saying?
It'd probably be a lot of suicides for sure. And so I'm not one of those guys where I do like posting. I like putting myself out there. Like, I think you're kind of the same too. We have a lot in common, where the attention isn't a goal, or even sometimes even something we would want. I think a lot of guys, they might not necessarily work out to take their shirt off, but man, I'm so sometimes messed up where, like, if I'm like, a random thing, I love water parks. I used to love going to water parks. Bro, I will never go to a water park ever again.
Because how much unwanted attention that I get that.
And that's my own doing. And not only am I like into fitness, but I'm on like open bodybuilder level. So I want to be a monster, but then sometimes I'll be upset that people
do shit and just kind of like just enjoy what I'm doing, not have to.
Right. All the look over there.
I want to be like I just want to do this.
Right. So maybe you can help me with having something outside of.
Again, the more I just kind of followed your story loosely. I feel like that is the last component, you know what I'm saying? Before you just like having your energy and your auric field reflect like the personality you built and the mind that you have, you know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be powerful for you. And this is the time for it.
Yeah.
Time for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what I should do too is we should film it because it would be the most like raw of someone going into it where I know that I need this, but to be a believer in it, I think you don't even become a believer until you've actually been doing it for a while. You can lie and say like I believe in certain things, but I think that going into it with kind of like an open mind, with also a little bit of disbelief, I think would be the biggest like for people to be like, no, I used to be like him, or I wasn't sure, because
like a lot of this stuff I approach apprehensively because like what is it really doing? But when you see like how I can see how my personality and my triggers and how like my temper could have been beforehand, before I rooted myself in the practice, and how I am now. Like if I go too long without doing my practice, I can see it and kind of slipping back into like old mental pathways. So I know there's merit to it, and just when people just actually take it seriously and be committed to it like they committed to other things, I think you'll see a benefit for sure.
So who got you into it?
When it comes to like, okay, there was a pathway to that basically. So I was like drawn to like, I guess like occult information and just like occult is just like hidden knowledge or stuff that's not commonly known. I was kind of drawn to that. But I took a yoga class back in like 2020, but it's something that's always been kind of like speaking to me. So I always sought certain information out. But then I was led to yoga, and I felt like that kind of tied things together. Because you think a lot of these things are like separate material, but that it let me see that all this shit is connected, and it's one thing basically. You know what I'm saying? It just energy and how vast it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that is the name that you're using.
Different names and like titles on these things, but when you see this all connected and it all has a myriad just different names and labeled differently,
right.
You'll realize, okay, like there's something more here. You know what I mean?
And so what about like, because I was going to say too about my mom. So then she got into yoga, but she couldn't get rid of the bodybuilder in her. And so when Pilates came out, that's when she really kind of like actually, I don't want to say she was like the first person, but I know that she was selling her own tapes and videos of yoga lattes. And it was where you do yoga on the reformer.
Okay.
So have you done any Pilates, like the actual workout part of it?
I have not. She was taking a few classes. I was watching her take a few classes, but it looked like it could be intense. I would definitely like to try it. But
yeah, I'm not opposed to anything, but that's my point. Is I think that proves they're completely separate. But from people who are outside of that world, we kind of just put them all together. Like fitness is all fitness. You could be powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding. People who don't do it, it's all the same.
For sure.
You know, and they're probably the same. Pilates and yoga is the same to outside of the people. Yeah. But it's really not at all because you haven't done it once, and you're teaching you're paying it forward to others with yoga. Yeah. That means that's really kind of like a separate thing.
Is it?
You think one came from the other?
That's what I'm trying to think about. I want to know like where did Pilates come from? I'm sure. I feel like yoga is one of like the oldest.
It has to be for sure.
Like, was Pilates a derivative of yoga? But I don't know that though.
Yeah. No. Someone in the comments gonna let us know.
Yeah.
My mom's gonna be in there, write a whole thesis. Actually, she's actually flying here right now. But we first met.
Seriously, is she?
No, I'm making a joke about her.
Okay. I'm like, is she visiting?
Kyron, you're the most. You're the nicest dude. So funny. But we actually met in San Diego, and I just wanted to talk about this too because I grew up in Chicago, and Brandon is from Chicago, Hendrickson.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's really the only only really men's physique person that I ever really seen train.
Yeah.
And then the class blew up. So I always saw him as someone because we were not coach, but we were trained by kind of like a similar trainer in Chicago. Okay. And he trained both of us like bodybuilders. So Brandon started off training like
I had underground athletic.
Yeah, Mendes.
Mendes Buckle. I'm familiar.
Brandon's been doing his research on you. He was watching you. No, yeah, but he's one of those guys that unfortunately got canceled with that Me Too that happened in bodybuilding. But he was very smart.
I felt he was always a solid dude, always kind of like lended good advice to me.
Yeah.
a real dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was. He really was. And anyone who was doing it again before social media, you really loved it because you didn't make. He made no money from Maximum Muscle Radio or whatever it was until YouTube first started giving money back.
Gotcha.
So a lot of guys back in the early 2000s, they're for sure OGs. But it wasn't until I went to San Diego and I saw you train. Oh, I was going to say, so me and class blew up, and then I became a really big hater of men's physique. I'm not going to lie. I hated it, especially once after Classic came out. It didn't make any sense to me. But really what it was is I was just low-key jealous because you guys are more marketable. Now, all those sponsorships that were only for bodybuilders or 212 guys, it would half, if not more, are now going to the other guys. And so usually the biggest thing that I have a problem with is clothes. Because usually if I get like a clothing sponsor or even a supplement sponsor, they don't make 4X shirts. So a lot of times if I'm even sponsored by a clothing company, they're usually having to kind of make an extra shirt for me or make an extra size for maybe people I'm reaching out to or my, you know.
And they're trying to cash the biggest net possible to get as much profit. So like if they're not other people who see you like, I'm not that size, so I'm not going to think that those clothes that he wears is for me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you don't make, you have to spend more money for more material. You lose more money on bodybuilders. But men's physique class was the reality of a lot of bodybuilders figuring out that normal people don't want to look like you and they don't want to be like that. So why are they going to spend their company around you? And then, not only did you guys start picking up most of the sponsorships, but then they started making companies like, I feel like Gymshark, like all their
Young Lady Dark Sport, all that shit is kind of made after the prototype.
And why not? The craze is nuts. The average gym bro probably brings in cajillion more money now into the industry, into the IFBB, and also just the industry in general than any kind of like lunk bodybuilder. You know, because also really too, the more big bodybuilder you are, I feel like they're mostly also like very like dirty and unorganized. So a nice clothing company isn't something they want to wear. They're wearing this like the same old clothes that they've been wearing, you know, or like they like wearing retro old stuff.
I feel like there's a certain mentality that comes to open bodybuilding. And that mentality is very, very
grunge.
Very, very unique and separate from like the masses. You know what I mean? So it's going to draw in certain people and it's also going to alienate certain people. But that brings me to like, you know how they talk about the prize money for bodybuilding. You guys get the bigger prize, and that makes more sense. I feel like there's a lot being said about how you guys make the most money when it comes to like the bigger shows, but looking at it that way, it makes sense because you guys don't have the same avenue. So like you getting that money from those shows,
that's it.
A lot more. You know what I'm saying? It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like again, Sam Sola, he did the Arnold. He made more money than anyone who had won the Arnold in the open class, and so it's just crazy money. But what I was talking about is, I wasn't understanding that that's what it was. I was just a huge hater on men's physique. And then, bro, I met you in San Diego, and even if I didn't talk to you, I mean, obviously anyone who talks to you, they love you. But watching you train, and more specifically, and that's what I wanted to talk about, is how you trained legs. It blew my mind because I'd never seen a men's physique guy.
I appreciate it.
Bro, you were out training me. Like I remember a couple times that you were training. I don't know if I ever told you this. I saw you training, and it even motivated me.
What's up?
But then it kind of was like this little like it's like a punch in the gut, like you know. And also it was more telling about the gym that we trained at, who really was really serious in that place. How a men's physique guy could be the most motivation for me. Well, there's plenty of guys that weigh the amount that I weigh there, but they're not pushing workouts.
They're not having the same intensity. You know what I mean?
And look, you can have stupid intensity where you just are an idiot. That's also not motivating to me too. Like training like a jagoff is just like it's deterring. If anything, I'm more laughing at someone who's putting all the plates.
And it looks like, what's the word I'm looking for? It looks grueling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a level of grueling which can be motivating, but when it's just like
you got nothing. You made no muscle that day, bro. Yeah.
Not at all. But if you make that shit look like graceful, you can tell there's a connection there.
Right.
Like trying to sculpt something.
But I think that's why so many people are so much haters online, is because they don't train like that. So when you look at people, like a lot of times now, I'll stress about it, back to where we're talking about social media, I'll post something and I'm like, man, I really had such a great workout. Like that connection was so good. I even tried a new form where I tried to like bring my knees in, make it a little bit harder, my feet closer together. But you post that, nobody's liking that boring shit with 2-3 plates on each side. You know, so, but it's tough because it's like I for sure gained more during this. And the only people who are watching that are going to be trained professionals who are now doing it themselves. I try and tell my clients the worst thing you can watch is a bodybuilder who's not their prime, even like they're doing well, and what they've trained. So like you, it would be like, honestly, watching you train abs would not help me get my abs because you're already trying to fill in your gaps now. You still do your abs, but really probably the majority of your best body parts came from the beginning of your career.
I definitely get that. You're not seeing how they built the foundation of their physique, so it's not really help you do the same.
Because we're not trained like that now. Like I see someone who has huge legs. If I watch their leg workout, they're trying to fit the part of their legs. The judges are now telling them, well, you should have had more of this. And I was just talking with my workout partner yesterday. I do the extreme where, again, competing, that's all I have, right? So I get on stage and they're like, they don't talk about this. That means if they don't talk about it, that means it's good. That's how bodybuilding is, right? We don't talk about what you're lagging, you know? Like, unless something's just insanely amazing, then they'll talk about it. But for the most part, it's like you don't have this, you don't have that. So that means I have these, and then now you try and focus on, okay, I need to bring this body part and this body part. I now will just not even give a shit about these other body parts that that are my moneymaker.
And you shouldn't neglect them at that point, but it's easy to when you feel like I have to focus on it. I get that.
I only lost because of my back. I promise you, I'm not going into my leg day anymore. Like, oh my God, this is make or break.
I get that.
So yeah, that's also messing it up now too. Is that for people to really watch and learn? It's very hard to either know, because also now it's oversaturated with so many people who are like, you know what? If you do this one arm pull with a bench at this angle, then you're gonna grow more. But then, are you?
Yeah, is that for you? I think the biggest test is just feeling the shit in our bodies. You know what I mean? Like, because you can follow for the time, but I feel like I'm making the most progress, so I get the most out of a workout. It's just like when you're doing some shit that you haven't heard from someone else before, you just actually see how it feels in your body. Like, and you can make things hurt as much as you want to make them hurt. You know what I'm saying? And that's not something you can really like watch someone do. It's just that you have to feel in your body.
Without adding more weight. Right.
Exactly. You can just literally connect with it and go as slow as possible and actually like make that shit hurt as much as you can. But again, it's not something you can see from other people. You just got to feel it in your body.
So yeah, so I was want to tell you, when I would see you train, I had mad respect for not only you, but also for your whole class. So that is the definition of being an ambassador of a class, because I feel like that would be the most, because like you be saying I'm a good ambassador because you're nice to people and you have good abs. Like, yeah, I want to have good abs too, but you're not changing kind of like my thought process or how I look at things. Like you being such a good person off stage, and then actually in the gym, you are still doing the same as my class or guys I go against. It's like a slap, like forces you to respect. Where maybe you don't know every men's physique guy. What if there are other Kyrons, you know, and stuff like that. And so I thought that was a really cool thing. And I would hope I could do that for someone one day. Someone comes up to me and is like, man, I always thought open bodybuilders were blah, blah, blah. That means more to me than like, man, you have nice arms.
I get you.
So I wanted to give you probably a compliment I don't think you ever heard before.
I appreciate
something different.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was for real. And I was also happy that you guys were here in Vegas. But I wanted to mostly just kind of like not get into what is men's physique and explain that, because I don't know what episode it is, but you guys can go back and look at the episode with him and Phil where you explain the class and what you do and stuff. I more wanted to talk about the difference with the training. And so now with the class, they started to say that men's physique, for people who aren't following, men's physique, you're getting too big. Your mofos are too big. And so now you have a weight. That was not a normal thing before, right?
It wasn't. Initially, you think that that's going to be the natural progression of anything. People are trying to get bigger, they're going to get better. If you've been training consistently for this many years, you can't stay the same if you're actually being effective with your training. So you feel like they're maybe hindering it, but actually being in it while you have the weight caps, I feel like it's good because it puts everyone at a certain standard that no one. How can I put it? I think it makes it fair enough that everyone had to have criteria to meet, and now you do what you can with this criteria you have to meet. And I feel like it's making everything. I think it is making the class better, and it's making the class more complete. People have to show it with complete physiques now, because you can't be oversized and now your back is overpowering every other like muscle group. It's making you, okay, stop. I only have this much weight left.
Right.
I distribute that evenly so I can have a complete physique. So I think it's turned out to be a really good thing.
And so that's why I was even going to ask you about that, because when I heard about that, you and Brandon were the first two people I thought of. And I was thinking, now the only downside to them doing that would be you're forcing you to not go crazy on your legs anymore. Because now, no matter what, you can see legs in the shorts, and that is judged. People don't know that. I didn't know that either.
I think they're looking at the overall shape.
Now, it's definitely gotten better at it for sure. But now, why would you have the same leg day that you did before when they just told you that you lost off of whatever it is, lower back, and now you're exactly like you said, you only have 2 pounds to distribute.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do now with that?
You have to really go into like your training now having a plan. You can't just kind of go, I'm gonna do chest, or you can't do it like that.
Because things grow faster than others. Yeah.
You have to actually treat your physique like you have to have a plan with it now. You know, okay, I have to lay off these muscle groups, so maybe that can come down, so I have a little bit more weight to distribute to the places that I need to, so I can have a complete physique. You know what I'm saying? And it's, I do think it's overall making it better, but again, you can't just haphazardly do it now. You have to kind of like have a plan.
Do you now change your meals around what day you're training to?
Yeah, for sure. Like me personally, I'm gonna dedicate the larger carb days to like the big muscle groups, obviously the legs and back. But I'm happy that I took that time off to try to attempt classic, because it made me like take a step and like actually distribute the weight more evenly around my body, so I had a more balanced physique. So I'm not really doing too much overhaul in my physique right now. Right now, we're just kind of like making the lines deeper. That's my personal journey right now.
And so, who do you train with?
Either her or Dolo for the most part.
And how long have you lived here in Vegas?
So I think we moved here like early 2021. So it's been like 4 years now. Yeah.
So yeah, you must have moved right before I went to Dubai. Because when I left,
I feel like maybe like a little bit after. Cause I remember you being at TG, and I remember I hadn't seen you for a while, and then we left. So I think you moved to Dubai, and then we moved out of San Diego.
Because everyone moved from Cali in COVID.
Yeah.
And then they came here. But I'm glad that I came a little bit later, because now it's definitely progressed.
Yeah.
Like the gyms are definitely a lot more.
There's like a new gym popping up like every year, I feel like.
We're for sure spoiled.
But I feel like that was San Diego too, Jet, when I'm hearing about all the gyms popping out.
Right. I just heard that.
A bunch of new gyms. I think fitness in general is just getting bigger. You know what I mean?
Which is really good, because it's cool when you talk to Phil. He's smart, and he just did the non-gym part and just supplied the gyms with things that you need.
And he made such that was the smart thing, and not a smart thing, but I guess the timing of that was so perfect for him for what he does, like actually providing the equipment. Because when all the gyms closed down, that's all people wanted was gym equipment. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I know a few people that definitely boomed on that Facebook marketplace during COVID, driving to Iowa to grab some amazing.
That's crazy. Like I feel like when I had my conversation with him, he was talking about how things were kind of like they weren't as busy as he would like, and then when that shit hit, the fact that he kind of stuck it out and dealt with so much, like he had his like come up in that time. It's crazy how that worked out for him.
Yeah, and everybody should remember too that the government told us that health and fitness was not a necessity. Yeah, because that was the other thing, is that everybody now had to go underground to secret gyms, going, it's crazy.
Go to the back door.
Right.
At Metroflex before, yeah.
Man, my wife Olivia said that even in Lithuania and other countries where, I don't even know any pros that came out of her country. So I get it in places like where we pay our bills with this. So how are you going to tell us that we cannot pay our bills? But then there are a bunch of people that are doing it for mental health. So I don't even think on the other side of the world where people just do it for fitness.
Yeah.
She said she had to go underground through this tunnel, through this right, to come. And then the gym was just disgusting. It was a horrible gym, but exactly, that's how much they just wanted to have some kind of outlet to be able to do what they like to do. And it's crazy that was something that affected the whole world, worldwide, but also worldwide had a conscious decision that fitness was not something that was a necessity.
But I feel like that's how it was looked at, but it became one, I feel like.
Right, and then, right, I think
for a lot of people, that was the only time they can get out and go do something. I was just having this conversation recently, like, that was, since you couldn't do much else if you were even into the gym, even if you weren't into the gym, you started to go because that was the only like social thing you could probably do. Obviously, it wasn't as many opportunities to do it, but I felt like more people were starting to get into it because of that, because it was the only outlet you could have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I got off on doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Did you when I came back, because I was stuck in Australia for most of COVID. I went there to go do, so they had the Arnold 2020. Right when COVID, and that's when they announced like a couple weeks right before that COVID was like, okay, now we're shutting down. And I don't know if you remember, they shut down the Arnold, and then Arnold came forward and was like, no, we're gonna only shut down the Expo.
I do remember.
And bogus all of the other classes, pretty much. They just did kind of one day.
Yeah.
And so I competed at that Arnold.
They still had a competition.
Yeah.
I do remember.
It's crazy. But I know that he was only the one that made that happen in Ohio, because everything in Ohio was shut down.
Yeah.
And so he had us do the show. And then I think at that time still, because I'm dieting. Nothing outside of the world exists when you're dieting, you know? You can't even keep track with news. I still didn't think COVID was going to be something that it turned into. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to go do the Australia Arnold, because it's always right after.
Okay.
So it's always like the next weekend, or maybe it's like 2 weekends right after. So I immediately after that show, I got on a plane, went to Australia. As soon as I landed, they canceled it.
That's wild.
And it's never came back since.
But that's crazy. It's like you left, but how strict was the...
So yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It was so weird that I actually traveled to, besides China, the most strict lockdown place in the world. Yeah. Melbourne, Australia, which is where the Arnold has been, was the most suicides. They had the most. They had cars. They had cops just sitting in the road, and if anyone was just out, you went to jail. They were nuts. Yeah, you couldn't have a family member come to your house. They were super strict. But across their little pond in Queensland, which is where I was, there was no restrictions. It's like their vacation spot. It's where they go. It's where the Great Barrier Reef is. Okay. It's like one of the...
Is that their Vegas a little bit?
It is, exactly. Okay. And so I had already had that plan to go there anyway, because after the show was canceled, I had already planned that I was going to do the show, and me and my friends were going to go and then fly there. So either way, we already planned to do it. Thank God we got on the plane. As soon as we landed, they were even saying that, yeah, exactly, no Australians can even travel. So then we were stuck in this like island. It was amazing, where there was nothing was really open, but there wasn't any crackdowns or anything. So we're just like riding our bikes in the street. It was like we had the whole place to ourselves, and it was really cool that there was even a time where the cops came on the beach with like the dirt bikes, and they came up, and I could see that there was a news company, and I didn't know until everybody blew up. They're like, oh my God, you're on the news. Yeah. And it reminded me too how also there's fake news all over the world. Not to get distracted with this story, but in
things seem a lot worse.
The title was "Police are cracking down on people out during lockdown in Australia." That was at the bottom, right? It is showing us talking, and they're talking to me. It's me. I'm with Chris Cormier. We're just on the beach because we went there to compete in them. And then they said,
so was he there around like the same amount of time that you were there?
Yeah, we stayed the whole time because he went there because he actually had moved in with me in San Diego, and then we got ready for the Arnold together. And then I was like, yeah, let's go do Australia. So we flew there all together. Yeah. So it's me, him, my two friends, and the cops are talking to us. But all they asked me was like, oh, you know Kai Green? You know Phil Heath? That's all they talked about. They were
crackdown like, now we were just chopping.
Actually asking for an autograph, not to say anything. So it was so crazy. And then they did make this announcement that if you're non-Australian, you need to leave the country, have this amount of time that you had to leave. So we're like, yeah, we don't want to push it. We'd already been there like 3 months. Yeah. We're like, yeah, let's get out of here. So by the time I went back to San Diego, and that's why I was bringing this up, it was just starting to be, San Diego must have been the first city in California that started going against.
Oh, okay.
But also the police were, like the actual people who were running the city were having enough. And so when I first came back, it was just starting to be where it wasn't insane anymore. And then exactly, the gym was open. They put the black stuff over the windows.
Put all the stuff outside, like the restaurant.
Yeah, right. And then that's why I brought this up, I remember there was one time that I was training, and reason I said this is that oh my God, we're doing something bad. I was enjoying it. And then there was one time, I swear to God, bro, it was like a high school party where Brad comes and he's like, the cops are coming. Everyone just went out the back door.
Why do I feel like I remember this happening?
Because I think it happened a couple times. It happened to have happened with you being there. And what they would do is because, now I'm sure they'd had someone on the force give them heads up.
Yeah.
Because they're sick of the lockdown too. And I think that's what they would do. They would give the gym a heads up. They're on their way. But us running out the back doors, because we went out the, where they have the wall with all the Olympia photos in the main room.
Yeah.
There's that door. And then they have the garage thing.
The upstairs? No,
downstairs.
Okay.
The main room.
Yeah.
But
there's one on the
one that has my dad's photo on the wall. They have all the Mr. Olympias on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that there's that back door over there. Yeah, we're just all going out. It's like, I don't even know if we're supposed to even say this. They're probably gonna get in trouble. Boy, it was like 60 people just jarring out the back. And then I was like, man, this is exciting again. Yeah. But I was thinking, like, why wasn't I this excited about when I was training when I could train? Like, but I'm starting to lose that.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna have to help me.
Yeah.
With
I'm down. I'm excited for this upcoming year. I feel like a lot of breakthroughs is gonna happen for people. You know what I'm saying? But
you have plans. What's your plans for?
This is me kind of returning back. So I'm qualified already for next year. So I ain't got enough. I feel like I have enough time to experiment with some things between now and the Olympia. So I'm gonna give it a try.
That sounds exciting. Being able to have choices.
For sure. And it's for me, it's just about still building that ideal physique that I want. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's never been about size. It's more about refining shit. So I'm just keep on doing that. You know what I mean?
Bro, you're on almost 20 wins or something? What is it?
Getting like 16 now?
You're like 16. You're like 16. Who's counting? No, but that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that's you winning when the criteria was the old. Mm-hmm. And I mean, how many different looks they've been going for
sure,
since even just in your 16 wins. And so that means you are still steadily adapting. Mm-hmm. But are you adapting to the class, or is this low-key probably what you were already going to be doing anyway?
Okay, so sometimes as you're in the journey, you don't really realize how much changes you've made. When I look at my physique before, you don't think that there's much room that you could do once you've already put the muscle on somewhere. But when I look at my old photos, I can see my muscles bunched up. And me doing the yoga, me stretching out my limbs, stretching out the muscle fibers, it makes a completely different look. So it has changed a lot, and it's weird to see how much you can change a lot with even still weighing the same. You know what I mean? It just that's why I'm firmly your body fucking reflects what your mind is, because I feel as my mind changed, my physique has changed as well. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's not the weight hasn't changed much, but just the way it looks is different. So if I can just keep on compounding that and just have this ideal look. It'd be dope and bring that to the stage with all. I feel just this entire journey of me trying to win the title, and just how much shit you learn, how much things you have to incorporate, and it just feel like it's a good time that everything is kind of hitting right now. So again, we'll see.
Man, so what I was gonna say is your training, right? Your training is always going to be the same training anyway. But now, no matter what, if your mindset's the same, your goal's the same. Speaking of, who is one of your favorites?
I'm
was there somebody everyone has I saw this guy and it got me into.
To be honest, a physique that I always looked at and I fit Flexitron
his. Sean.
Yeah, that shit has always been there's Sean, and there's also.
Flex Wheeler.
Flex Wheeler, yeah. So having the way his physique, because I feel all the muscles just elongated. It's very elegant looking. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
So that was one physique that impressed me a lot, and then also Sean Roden. Both of their physiques. And I feel their physiques are similar, but those physiques always stick out to me.
You never got a chance to train with Sean?
No, I haven't. No.
He must have moved here right before you guys did, because they came during COVID.
Wait.
Sean Roden, him and Stan, they moved here. They were and Laura Lee, they were the first ones to move here.
I always feel he was in Cali.
He was.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because me and him used to train together.
Yeah, okay.
Man, I don't know why. Back to me being old school. when I first got into bodybuilding, there was magazines. That was what you were going to get. There wasn't a social media thing to even aspire to be on anything. So when I first was wanting to be a pro, I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what everybody does. I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to pack it up, and I'm going to drive to Venice.
Okay.
But again, what am I going to do for a living? Like, what was I thinking? But I literally did. I won my pro card. I think I won my pro card right before you. What are you, 2017?
2017?
Yeah, it was the Nationals right before.
Okay.
And so, in Chicago, packed my car up with my dog and just drove to California. Like, just so stupid.
Did you know anyone out there beforehand?
I knew a cousin of mine who lived somewhere in Northern California, and I just asked him his opinion on where I should live. But I shouldn't have, because he told me Long Beach was close to Venice. Yeah. Long Beach is an hour and a half drive. So I was driving. So when I first got there, I was just so excited. I was driving to the gym. And the reason I brought this up is that there was one day I got to the gym and I was like, what was I thinking? I have no way to make money. Like, it was just
like, I'm here at the gym. Now I got to eat. And how I'm going to make money.
Right. And I'm not going to be one of these guys that are living in in the parking lot.
That takes a lot of balls to do, though. You know, although you look at it and see that it was maybe foolish.
There's got to be a little bit of foolishness in there, but that's how it works. I have a bunch of stories like that too, where that's how it is. If you do well, then it was like, man, you really believed in yourself. But if you don't do well, I was like, man, that was stupid. Yeah. Like, you didn't have no backup plan at all. That was very immature. But either way, I remember I was just sitting there after my workout thinking. I was just sitting at the front, and Sean came up to me and he was like, yo, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm reflecting.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah.
And he's like, man, if you want to train with me, he's like, I train with Charles Glass every day at 2:00. If you just show up here at 2:00 every day, we'll train. And bro, I was there every day at 2:00, and that's why I won my pro debut. Was because I was training with him. I won New York.
That's fire.
And it was really crazy. He had an expo in Florida, and I didn't even know, bro. He surprised me, flew to New York, and so by the time that they're announcing the champ, I looked down when he's down there in the crowd. Yeah. He just flew for that show and then flew back to Florida. Man, Sean was like one of the best people, right? He's really good people. But what I was going to say is so you already have this training mentality. You have these people that you aspire to look like, or kind of like a look. But no matter what, the equipment has been changing and evolving since we were in the gym. Like, that's cool about that gym. It has old stuff and new stuff. Yeah. But even now being here in Vegas, there's still new stuff being invented. So now, is there anything old school stuff that you like to use? Have you tried any of the American Barbell machines?
I feel like I've tried a lot of them, but not realizing we were just at was the Dragons. We were at Torture.
It's both. That's the best part, bro. Is that you go back now, that logo. All the dumbbells are Dragons. I've been
around this the entire time. So I'm pretty sure I have. I just haven't realized. Recently, but just seeing the logo, like it's probably a lot of shit that I've used.
Bro, half of Gold's Gym Venice is American Barbell.
That's wild.
All the curl bars, the barbells. But that's what I was saying. It's so smart. I was just watching this random YouTube thing, and it was like top 10 things you don't think about, but you can make you a billionaire. Like the things that people make, but we don't associate a company to that. Yeah. It's like the plastic over your shoelace.
Little peanuts.
Yes.
When you have a package. Like,
exactly.
I think about that shit all the time. Those small little gaps in like reality that you can like feel.
Right. Who makes zip ties? Who makes the part in Ziploc that locks it? It's like a bunch of things like that. Yeah. And really, that's what Phil was doing. Is like, okay, you want to like make an amazing, crazy gym? You're gonna have to buy my bars. Yeah. But we're all using the bars. And I was telling him too, I feel so ignorant that how I do bars is that feels good.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I don't know, like it's polythermal, serrated.
But the thing is, once you're made aware of the intricacy that goes into it, you realize that those just have to be like engineered well. Like they have to support the weight, and still be small enough for you to like handle and carry.
For sure.
A lot.
How many times have you been doing like the flakes, like it almost fall in your eye and stuff? Like what company bar is that? But now I'm gonna be aware of that stuff because before I would have just been like, this gym sucks. Now I'm gonna look and be like, whose bar is this?
They cut corners. Yeah.
Yeah, hearing how he makes the dumbbells, like there's nobody putting that amount of effort into making a dumbbell where you could just throw it. Have you seen the video that they have of the I don't want to quote it. How much is it? It's probably like 500 pounds on a bar, and they drop it, on the rack part, but only on one. And the bar they drop it from a forklift. It's a cool video to watch that they shot downstairs in the warehouse.
It's probably unattainable, but you post a lot of like just random creative, like artistic.
Oh, you be watching my stories? Well, my stories are for my like you have to be kind of like my level of a person. Like the posts are for the sponsors. Yeah. I gotta keep my whatever algorithm up and all that. Yeah. But I always say my stories are for people who are like me, because art of the day. I even do like a tattoo of the day. Like random stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't want to post my chicken and rice, And I am making less money because of that. Because that's what I'm saying. Like that's at the end of the day, I tried to do a YouTube back in the day. I'm gonna get back on it now, actually. I'm gonna start next week. But I tried to do this YouTube where I was like making it into like a 90s sitcom where there's like all these different characters. There's the bodybuilder me, and make it funny and relatable.
I think you would benefit a lot from that.
But nobody watched that shit. Nobody watch it because
I feel like with shit like this and stuff like this, you just gotta keep making it. Cause you people. Like, you being the kind of person that you are, like the bodybuilding is in your blood. You know what I'm saying? But I think that you're growing outside of it, and it's because it's what you do as well. It's not many avenues to like really show who you are. Obviously, you have Instagram, but that's just a story and it's a small clip. But I feel like the money can come from people seeing more of who you are, so you don't have to just posting your chicken and rice and feel like it's gonna affect your pockets. You know what I'm saying? As much.
Yeah, I think it's I was born in this sport. Like I literally was a little kid going to the expos with my dad. Like, so I just try and think of like, what would I want to watch? And I wouldn't want to watch what everyone else has. But I also need to remember too, a lot of people don't know me. They just know me as my dad's son or the bodybuilder. And they also do want to see just actually what I'm eating. Because what I was going to say is I did that YouTube, and I have a bad tendency of like, if something doesn't work, then I'm not going to do it anymore. But you got to do it sometimes and let it reach.
I feel like the universe is testing like how bad you want it. And again, I can say this, but I can say this, even with our YouTube, it's easier said than done, and I get that. But I know for a fact, just even with this shit, the more like energy you put into it, it has to return back to you. You know what I'm saying? And if it's something that you enjoy doing, then why not? Especially if it can solve a bunch of different problems.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Different problems for us both. You know what I mean? I feel like if I'm consistent with it, and if you're consistent with it, it can.
Yeah, because then I did a YouTube. It was like muscle and strength. It was like the day of eating. Yeah. But it's just like almost ASMR where you're just chewing. They're just watching you the whole time.
I feel like I've never watched any one of those videos.
I never watched one. It was 2 million views. So I just made this other company 2 million views because they know who their market is. They knew who they reached to. And I'm thinking too, like, you're going to pay me. I think they paid me like $250. They're like, hey, can we just film you for a day? No problem. Like, this is boring. They banked off of my ass. While I'm doing a whole production editing for my YouTube, 37 views. Yeah. So yeah, I need to get back on doing a YouTube, and I'll film me going through this process with you. I think that'd be really cool.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
But no, we should definitely do this again. This was fun. Yeah, I really appreciate you, bro. For real. On and off stage, man.
Same. I think we have a rapport now, so the conversation will flow more easily next time we do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this concludes episode. Enter the episode blank. You could just put it like where you make the mouth say it. Concludes episode of American Barbell Unleashed. Sergio Oliva, Kyron, out.